Hello everybody and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. I always start with some announcements, and so courses coming up. We're still in the middle of diet, lifestyle, and diabetes, and I'm filming as I go, so if you missed the first 3 lectures, you can take the 4th one live and watch the other 3 online, or do it all online. And the next one up is time management, which starts July 15th. The next Food Over Medicine coaching program, if you're interested in opening a Food Over Medicine chapter, starts July 23rd, and we have some great package opportunities where you can couple it up with courses. And then after that, cognitive health and Alzheimer's disease in August, microbiome in September, and I think in October we do cannabis and irritable bowel. So lots of great programming coming up. You don't want to miss it. If you're interested, pampopper@msn.com. I want to comment on some comments. Every week somebody or a few somebodies comment on how aggravated you are with me that I don't post the articles and the references on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. Well, here's the deal. If you want that information, you have to subscribe to the Health Priest Library. So I have a suggestion for those of you who don't like it that way. What you should do is start your own YouTube channel, and then you can do all the research and write the articles and post it for free online. And then you can provide the service that you think that you would like to see happen. Okay, so it's my YouTube channel, I get to make the rules. You start your own, you get to make the rules, everybody's happy, all right? So once again, if you are interested in the written version and the references and all that, just become a subscriber to the library or a member of Wellness Farm Health. You get all that information. All right, so I've got a couple of things to talk about. I'm going to finish with an inspirational story. I just love this. We'll come to that in a little bit here. But first of all, a recent study, which included 100 patients, average age 61 years of age, all of them had coronary artery disease. The participants were randomized to consume a vegan diet, or the diet recommended by the American Heart Association, for 8 weeks. The diets were designed to be as similar as possible, but one very important difference, and that is that the vegans ate plant-based protein while the American Heart Association folks ate animal protein. There was a lot of support provided. There were groceries, measuring tools for measuring daily dietary intake, and dietary counseling available to both groups. Well, at the end of 8 weeks, some interesting results. C-reactive protein levels were measured. And it's not really surprising, but the vegan dieters had an average of 32% lower CRP levels than those eating the AHA diet. CRP, by the way, if you're not familiar with it, is a measurement of inflammation, which is a common factor in almost all diseases, including coronary artery disease. Additionally, a non-significant 13% reduction in LDL cholesterol was achieved with the vegan diet as compared with the American Heart Association diet. So just substituting plant protein for animal protein produced these results. It's likely that if you lowered the fat and you made sure it was mostly whole foods and a lot of other things that you could do around this issue, you probably could see even better results. And the improvement took place in only 8 weeks, and we know that the cumulative effect of eating a really good diet is significant over time. So the bottom line is that the paleo and the keto and the fad-based diet groups continue to make a lot of noise, but they're really not making much progress in putting forth information like this, good evidence that shows that eating those diets is better. On the other hand, a growing body of evidence is suggesting strongly that plant-based diets are best. And by the way, one huge limitation I'll acknowledge here is the American Heart Association's standard diet is terrible. That's the case with most disease groups. The diets make people worse, not better, and one of the reasons is because these disease groups get so much money from food companies and drug companies. So in all fairness, probably almost anything you fed these people would have been better than the American Heart Association diet, but 32% lower inflammation levels is something to write about. And then I wanted to cover this because it's summertime and dehydration is always an issue. So this article caught my attention for that reason. So cystitis is a painful condition caused by inflammation to the bladder. It's the most common cause of urinary tract infection, and women are more likely to develop UTIs than men. In many cases, the infections are recurrent and treated with antibiotics, which leads to a cycle of antibiotics which increase the susceptibility to more infections, and then they're treated with antibiotics and the person gets worse, and eventually the antibiotics don't work anymore. As with many health conditions, the solutions that are the best are often simpler and cheaper than doctor visits and prescription drugs. Research shows that, big drum roll here, how can you solve this problem without drugs? Drink more water. It's cheap, it's easy, everybody can get it. So researchers randomly assigned 140 women who had had 3 or more episodes of cystitis in the previous year and who were also drinking less than 1.5 liters of water or fluid per day to 2 groups. And the intervention group was instructed to add 1.5 liters to their usual water intake daily for 12 months, and the control group just continued to do what they were doing. During the year, the women drinking more water had 47% fewer episodes of cystitis, and they also, of course, there was a corresponding decrease in the use of antibiotics, which is really the most important thing, perhaps. Women drinking more water had additional urine output of 1.4 liters and 2.4 more voids per day than the controls. Now, people often complain about this. Gosh, when I drink more water, I have to go to the bathroom more often. And yes, that's true, but there's a benefit to going to the bathroom more often. It's your body cleaning itself out, which is supposed to be going on a regular basis all day long. Now, as I mentioned, I wanted to cover this for a couple reasons. One is because it's almost July, and in the summertime, inevitably, every day, the emergency rooms have visitors who have been brought there because they passed out due to dehydration. So this is the time when you want to be more conscious about water intake than the rest of the year, perhaps. Another thing is the continued misunderstanding that is promoted that if you're eating a plant-based diet, you just don't need to drink more water, and that's absolutely not true. The average person loses 10 cups of water a day. It's easy to replace 2 of them with food, and the other 8 have to come from drinking water. And then, of course, adding more when it's in summertime and you're outside sweating. Or I went for a run for an hour yesterday. I got back to the house, it looked like I had just been in the shower for an hour, not running. So you have to replace that water. I did hot yoga this morning, looked like I was in the shower, not teaching a yoga class. So you have to add more water. So dehydration is a common and preventable condition, very preventable. Just start drinking water. It really doesn't matter if you're thirsty or not. Meet the quota, fill up those water bottles, make sure to drink 64 ounces every single day, more if you're sweating more and working out and that sort of thing. So, mentioned early on, I had something to share with you that I just so delighted when I read this. It was in the newspaper in Columbus, and then it was in a lot of other newspapers, and then some videos and articles went viral about this whole thing. So I'll just read some excerpts from it. At 103, Julia Hurricane Hawkins has cemented her title as the oldest woman to compete on an American track after finishing the 50 and 100-meter dashes at the National Senior Games in New Mexico, event organizers say. The Louisiana resident already holds the world record for her age group in the 100-meter dash. She didn't beat her previous best Tuesday, but crossed the line in just over 46 seconds. On Monday, she was clocked at 21.06 in the 50-meter event, which appears to be a senior games record for the women's 100-plus division. I think the fact that there's a 100-plus division in the seniors games is just really amazing. That's because she's the first to compete in that category. The retired teacher says a combination of things keep her going, from yard work around her home in Baton Rouge to the challenges of competition. I keep active all the time, she said. I have an acre of land. I work it all the time. I have 30 bonsai bushes. Some are 40 or 50 years old. That keeps me busy. She started cycling competitively in her 80s, participating in the Senior Olympics. When she became the only competitor in her division, her children suggested she try running. She liked the idea of competing in the 100-meter dash at age 100. Her knees, back, and hips feel fine. She credits years of cycling for her strong legs. Remember, she started in her 80s. It's not too late for you, or for any of us, right? But she says her eyesight's troubling her a little bit. I keep worrying about that. You feel a little less able when something like this happens, she told the Albuquerque Journal. I'm hoping I can see well enough to stay in the white lines. Born on February 19, 1916, Hawkins graduated with a teaching degree from Louisiana State University in 1938. That's where she met her future husband, Murray Hawkins. She taught for a while in Honduras while he served in the Navy. After surviving the bombing of Pearl Harbor, he asked her to marry him. They went on to have 4 children. She says eating right and not drinking or smoking have helped her longevity. Go figure, right? She has a simple goal on the track. I hope I'm inspiring them to be healthy and to realize you can still be doing it at this kind of an age. At a record 13,702 athletes are participating in this year's Senior Games, which will conclude Tuesday. And so, so many things to love about this. First of all, they have a 100-plus category. A 103-year-old woman is taking up running, right? Started cycling in her 80s. And so think about, I'm 62 years old, I'm thinking, gosh, if I could live to be 103, that means I have 42 more years, or 41 more years that I can make mischief, I guess, get into mischief and make trouble and tick off the pharmaceutical industry and all the other things that I love to do every day. And of course, you'll see me working out. We actually talked about this in yoga class this morning at the water break, that we'll all be convening here on Wilson Bridge Road when we're in our late 90s and early hundreds, still trying to get our foreheads to touch the floor. So anyway, I thought you would enjoy that. All right, so this is all for now. Hit the subscribe button and pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it. I will not be back to you on Thursday because it's the 4th of July. And I'm assuming you might have something to do other than listening to my video clips on the 4th of July. So enjoy the holiday, and I will be back to you with more news, and I will next week. And I'll leave you with this thought, which is as you're getting ready to go to whatever holiday celebrations you have planned, just think about what you're eating and think to yourself, would Pam eat this if she were here? And if the answer is no, maybe you should at least give it a little thought before you put it in your mouth. But it's possible to have a really healthy holiday celebration. I'm planning on doing that myself with yoga or running, something physical activity, and healthy food, and enjoying time with family and friends. And so you can do this without eating the bad food, right? Okay, so enjoy your holiday, and I'll be back to you next week with more news.